Being a teacher is both frustrating and rewarding. I get to teach what I love, United States history, but I'm not sure it's always learned. Whenever I start a new project, I wear my lucky shirt. In my backpack are my books and lesson plans. And the students? Well, they're typical students. This is a story about my students and their discovery of their rights and responsibilities as Americans.
Okay, class, get your social studies books out, please. Okay. Yesterday we were talking about the Constitution and, yes, Becky.
Why do we, have war?
What my friend here is trying to say is, why do people protest against wars?
Thanks, Carrie. That makes more sense, and that's a very good question. Can anybody answer that question? Charles, yes.
To defend our freedom and our rights.
Very good. It's a good answer. Can anybody tell us where these freedoms and rights come from? Where did we get them? Well, we've been talking about the Constitution. And the Constitution, as you know, creates a structure of government. But there was nothing in the Constitution to defend an individual's rights. The people that wrote it, in order to get it passed, ratified by the states, promised to add that to the Constitution once it was ratified. So after the Constitution was ratified, they met again in Philadelphia and offered 12 amendments to protect the rights of citizens and the states, only 10 of which were ratified by the states. And we call these 10 amendments, the first 10, our Bill of Rights.
And what are amendments?
Good question. Amendments are additions to the Constitution that were made in order to improve it or to meet with the changing times. For instance, the Civil War amendments, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, did away with slavery, gave freed slaves the right to vote, things like that, because previously slavery wasn't illegal. We're going to be beginning a project, I know you all love projects, on the Constitution. And what we're going to do is take the amendments, the first 10, the Bill of Rights, and we'll partner you up, and each of you will get one amendment to determine what you believe to be the rights and responsibilities contained in that amendment. Now, the First Amendment's kind of big, so we're going to break that into two pieces. So you're going to have a week to work with your partner to identify what you want to say, and then videotape it. And then we'll watch the video together as a class. All right? Any questions about the assignment? Okay, you're all going to do the best you can. Very good.
They loved working with technology, but more, they were working together, and they were really learning. They were excited about understanding their rights and responsibilities under the law. It was the first time the class really grasped the subject. And when they handed me the finished DVD, well, I couldn't wait to see what they created. After all, a week goes by quickly.
Okay, class. It's only been a week. Time sure flies when you're having fun, eh? I have the DVD you created, and we're all going to watch it together. If you did as I asked, we'll begin with the First Amendment and then go from there. Okay?
I can't believe the work my students put into the video. They really understand the amendments. They understand what their rights are and the importance of them. I knew they had fun learning this material, but it's the quality of their work that really blew me away. Anyway, take a look at the video for yourself.
Amendment 1. freedom of speech and of the press.
Freedom of speech and press means that we can write anything you want in the newspaper or say anything on TV as long as it's true, not false.
I have the right to print anything that I want to.
I have the responsibility to make sure it is true, not false.
Amendment 1, freedom of religion and assembly.
That means that you can go to any church that you want to and gather at any public place.
I have the right to choose any religion and gather at any public place.
I have the responsibilities to assemble peaceably and the right to make sure that I don't deny someone the right to go to the church of their choice.
Amendment 2, the right to keep and bear arms. The right to bear arms and have a militia or security of a free state.
The right to bear arms means that you have the right to carry a gun or any other kind of weapon, even if you are not in the military, for your self-defense.
I have the right to own a gun or weapon for my self-defense.
My responsibility is to not harm others if they do not harm me.
Amendment 3, quartering soldiers.
It means that no army troops can enter my home without my permission.
I have the right to keep them from entering if they are trying to take over my house.
I have the responsibility to call the police or military if they will not leave.
Amendment 4, security from unreasonable search or seizure. No search or seizure without a proper permit.
This amendment means that the police cannot come in and search my house without a proper permit from a judge.
My right is to not let anyone search my house without a proper permit.
I am responsible to let the police officer in if he has the proper permit.
Amendment 5, the rights of the accused in criminal proceedings.
This means that I have a right to a fair trial and a right to not incriminate myself.
I have the right to not testify against myself.
I have the responsibility to tell the authorities if I witness a crime.
Amendment 6, the right to a fair and speedy trial and to face the witnesses against me.
This means that you should have a trial in 1 or 2 years, not 10. This would not be very speedy.
I have the right to have a trial if I'm accused of something and put in jail.
I have a responsibility to have a lawyer and to show up for the trial.
Amendment 7, trial by jury in civil cases.
This means that there's a jury to help decide if I'm guilty or innocent.
I have the right to be found guilty or innocent by a jury, not just a judge.
I have the responsibility to show up for the trial if I'm accused.
Amendment 8, bail, fines, punishments. No cruel or unusual punishments and no excessive bail or fines.
This means that we cannot cut off someone's hands just for stealing something.
I have the right from excessive bail or fines and cruel or unusual punishment.
I have the responsibility to make sure that the convicted person has a fair punishment, and the accused person is not charged too much money for their bail.
Amendment 9, reservation of the rights of the people. All rights not mentioned in the Constitution still go to the people. Citizens will not be denied any rights not mentioned.
Any rights not mentioned, like getting married, should still be granted to people.
I have the right to get married to whomever I choose.
I am responsible to respect the marriages of others.
Amendment 10, powers reserved to the states or people.
This means that details not in the Constitution can be given to the states and to the people of those states.
I have the right to own a car and travel on the streets or highways.
I have the responsibility to obey all the signs and to have my car inspected.
Class, that was outstanding. It was far beyond any expectations I had. You especially did a good job around the amendments that had to do with the rights of the accused, the rights of homeowners, the right to free speech, assembly. These things are all important rights, and as you did the other day, you told me why these rights, or whether these rights were necessary. What you need to understand is, whether or not you think they were necessary, by now you need to believe that without them, life would be a lot different. There couldn't be any protesters. If you were protesting, you could get shot if you did not have these rights to protect you. But you also need to understand that there will always be attempts to limit the rights as you exercise them. Because you know them, it's now your responsibility to make sure they don't get limited, they don't get curtailed, and that you exercise your rights under the Constitution of the United States. Okay? Once again, fabulous job. Now you're more ready for life than you were before.
After that week, the class wants to know more about the great men and women in history who fought for all the rights we have. Some of them want to get involved in student government. And we talked about how today's news reflects our rights. It made me proud of my kids and their understanding of our rights as Americans.
We hold these truths to be self-evident,
that all men are created equal,
that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights,
that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men,
deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed,
that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends,
it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it,
and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
To order a copy of the program you've just seen on VHS or DVD, call us at 399-6750. Your contribution will help Saginaw Educational Television continue to spotlight our students.